What's good, everybody? It's your boy 313 JMO. We're here for the Detroit Lions DSA Roundtable. What's good, all my Lions fans? We got a great, nice, packed, full show for you guys today. And we just gonna get it going, and we just gonna introduce everybody in the panel, man. We got a full house today, so we got my boy Right or Wrong in the building. What's good?
What's going on, JMO?
That's my favorite guy. Listen, y'all don't realize Ryder's so smooth. Ryder's like,
Right.
what's going on, J-Mo? Like just Ryder, man, I love you, man. You my favorite person, bro. I swear, you just so cool. Don't make no sense. Don't you ever change.
All right.
We got PD Sports in the building. What's good?
What's up, guys? I'm glad to be on with every single one of you. Let's have a great show.
Man, I'm happy
All right,
PD in the building.
We got the Detroit Sports Room, Mr. Jim Bordeaux in the building. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up? It's time to talk some Lions football tonight, and I'm stoked, man. I'm loving this.
All right, we got Luke G's Field Review in the building. What's good, man?
Hey, salute. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something, people. We finna have some fun. All right? We finna have some fun. If you got your popcorn ready, go grab some extra butter. You might need to get you a Coke or a Pepsi or a beer to sip it down. But whatever you need, get it and get ready for a good one. It's finna go down, people.
You know it. We got my main man, OMG Lions Talk, in the building. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. What's good, man?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, man? I feel good to be here, man. I'm happy, man. Let's do this.
All right, and we got real Detroit Lions fan in the building. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm super excited to be here to talk about some Lions, and it's going to be great to be here on JMO's channel for once. He's at 913 subscribers, man. Let's get him to 1,000 as soon as possible.
Hey, man.
Yes.
True.
Luke G, you want to say hey to the people in the chat?
Oh, you listen. I ain't gonna lie to you. Pass it to somebody else. I'm still on this clock. I'm reading emails and doing everything else.
No problem.
Appreciate you, though, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, go ahead. The Detroit Sports Room. Go ahead, man.
All right, got Kyle Webb in the building. Devin99 is here with us. Detroit Rage, DMAP Zoom. What's up, Detroit Drew? How you doing, brother? And of course, me, Detroit Sports Room. Hey, what's up to everybody in the chat?
All right. Now, PD has a question. We're going to start off with his question today. Make sure you guys like the video. Go ahead, PD.
All right. My question to all you guys is, did Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia plan on a rebuild from the start and just to not tell anybody?
Oh, why you do this?
Look.
PD, why do you do this?
Yeah.
Why did he do Oh, my. Okay.
Usually, I would not go first. But I'm going to just say this, and then I'm going to let y'all go. They bet not have, because it's going to be a problem, for real. And I'm going to call for them to be fired. But we're going to start off with you, Right or Wrong. What you think about that?
I mean, I guess it depends on their definition of a rebuild, but it definitely seems like from the day Matt Patricia got here, he was trying to bring in New England Patriots guys. So, and if you consider that a rebuild, then absolutely. But, I mean, I guess it just depends on what they think a rebuild is. So...
Oh, okay. You looking at it from a different perspective. All right. The Detroit Sports Room. Jim, what do you think about this? Do you think that they playing this all along and they really want to rebuild?
Oh, man. I think on defense, definitely. I think when Patricia came in, the guys that we had didn't fit the system. So I do think that there's part of that had to be a rebuild on defense. On offense, we've been trying to run the ball for I don't know how long it was, since Javid Best, since Reggie Bush. So I think they were trying to change that about the offense. I don't consider that a rebuild because they didn't go out and get a new quarterback and do all that. So I think defensively it has been a rebuild. And I think that when Patricia got here, they did know that they would have to rebuild the defense.
Okay, OMG is Lions Talk. What do you think about that? Do you think Patricia and Bob Quinn planned to rebuild from the start?
I think they did. Starting with defense, we all know, we all seen what they foreseen, and that's bringing their players. But on offense, I just don't think that they were happy with that pass-happy attack. And I think that they brought Darrell Bevel in because they wanted somebody with experience on how to shape the run game. And that's why in the draft, they allowed him to basically have his way in the early rounds in the draft. And I think now we're going to see what's going on. But they definitely had this scheming from the get-go. It's just so obvious, man. It's obvious. It's right there.
Well, I hope it's not obvious, and like I said, they better not have done this because we didn't bring you here to do that. And our roster wasn't in a situation where you needed to turn us into a rebuilding team. I don't care what you say, 11-5, 7-9, 9-7, 9-7. Obviously, that's not rebuilding numbers. So whatever you want to say, like I'm not the biggest fan of Caldwell. Everyone who knows 313 J-Mo knows that for sure. But we went in rebuilding mode. So if you're coming here to rebuild, it makes no sense. And you don't get a chance to be a new young hot coach and come to a team that was, in playoff contention every year almost and rebuild and kick your feet back and do what you want to do. I hope not. I don't think they plan to rebuild. I just think they suck. I just think Matt Patricia wasn't that good, and we had a lot of injuries. Our quarterback was getting hurt. It was a lot of things. They just didn't do it right. I think they just failed at it. I don't think that they planned it. I just think it just didn't work out. But Luke G, what do you think about this, man?
First of all, this TD, why you do this to me? I was living my best life, and you come with this. Listen, people. All right. First of all, Detroit Rage. He's like, Luke, I told you. I know you told me, but let me just tell you something. They did not come into this thinking rebuild. I am not buying that BS. I'm not buying it. They did not come in thinking rebuild. When he said 9-7 wasn't good enough, that was his stamp of approval that he wanted to be better than 9-7. If you believe that 9-7 wasn't good enough and you wanted to be better than 9-7, why would you come in and think rebuild? It makes absolutely zero sense. They was not thinking about no rebuild. They was thinking he's going to come in, take our defense to the next level, and we're going to win games. That didn't happen. And then when the fans and everybody else in the media decided to throw it up in Bob Quinn's face, telling him, well, you said 9-7 wasn't good enough, but we want to know is 9-22-1 good enough, they downplayed and said, well, we rebuilding. That's BS. Nobody comes to a team that's 9-7 and decide to rebuild. Okay, that's not what they do. In fact, when you go and look at the teams where they fired their head coach after a winning season, and the guy came in, that guy took that team over the hump, literally. So it's no way I'm buying this idea that they just magically wanted to rebuild. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let's not skip out on this. J-Mo is hosting the roundtable. Y'all don't understand. This is big. Okay. Hit that like button and show my brothers some love and some support. But if y'all believe that they came in with the idea that this is a rebuild, then I need to know who's your dealer and where can I find them.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Luke. Patricia only knows how to coach one team. He's only coached one team, like for one team his whole career. So that means he has to transform at least the defense into the Patriot type defense, or he don't know what to do with it. He don't know what to do with a regular team. If he took over,
but here's the problem.
Indianapolis Colts, he wouldn't know what to do with them unless he turned that defense into the Patriots defense. You know what I'm saying? So
okay, listen, I can get with that, right? I'll accept your truth on that, right?
Right.
But here's the problem: he has failed at that department. And if you're going to tell me that he came in to do what I thought he was going to do, which was elevate the defense, then that's not a rebuild. That's called a renovation. He made a small renovation. Right, now, right. I read Detroit Rage thing. He says with the moves we've made, isn't that an overhaul rebuild? It is now, because at this point he went 6-10, 3, 3-12-1. I don't even know.
But the thing is, he didn't have a choice. If you go 3-12-1 after going 6-10,
right,
you might as well try a quick soft rebuild because you need it apparently. Of course, Matt Stafford got hurt, but you gotta like get rid of that trash, like you know what I'm saying. Right. So we got Antoine Isjuhan in the building, and D-Map in the building was good. So did I get everybody on that question? Real, did you go?
No, I didn't go. I don't think PD went either, but I'm gonna go real quick. Listen, Luke, you took the words right out of my mouth. Absolutely not. There's no way in hell that they had the intent of a rebuild when Bob Quinn took out Jim Caldwell and brought in Matt Patricia. There's just absolutely no way. And if that is the case, then Bob Quinn is an idiot for saying that 9-7 is not good enough. Because who would go into a rebuild and put the expectations at higher than 9-7 if your intent is to go into a rebuild? It makes absolutely no sense. Like, yeah, maybe a rebuild was warranted because maybe he did need his guys and stuff, but that was not the intent. It was, just like Luke said, to get us over the hump, make our defense that top tier defense, and keep Jim Bob. We kept Jim Bob Cooter to keep that offense clicking, so that we could get over the hump on defense and then be a better than 9-7 team. It was no intent of a rebuild when we got Matt Patricia.
Right, and go Lions. He right. He said Luke believes Matt P and Bob Quinn are not going anywhere. I do. I don't think they go. I think they're gonna get hold on, take that back. I thought under Martha Firestone Ford that they would get that full 4 years, but she's on somebody's island somewhere sipping pina coladas. Sheila ain't having it. I'm telling you right now. My original belief was that they were going to get a 4th year, and the excuse was going to be COVID, and Martha Stone was going to say whatever she can do to try to butter this over because she really loved Caldwell and did not want to get rid of Caldwell. But Sheila, oh Lord, no, Sheila ain't for that. Listen, she about that life.
All right, PD, you came up with this question.
Right.
I want to know what do you think? Do you think they were trying to do a rebuild?
No, I don't think they're trying to do a rebuild.
Thank you.
Like I came up with the question because I've seen some people bring it up. This was a planned rebuild from the start, but the biggest reason I can't buy into that they planned on rebuilding from the start was specifically because of 2019. Signing Trey Flowers to big money, Jesse James, big money, Justin Coleman, big money. I feel like we got one other person. I'm having a space cadet moment right now. But my point is we signed all these players. That screams we're trying to win now. We're trying to get the finishing touches on a team that's ready to contend and try to make the playoffs and try to advance in the playoffs and stuff like that. No, I do not believe this was a plan from the start.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like I said, it better not be, or it'll be held.
1 second.
Yeah.
When Patricia first came in here, remember pre-off-season OTAs, his first year, what did he say? I'm evaluating. As soon as he said that word evaluating, my expectations was like 5-11. As soon as he said that, he was like, we're just evaluating, see where the team is. And then the training camp came. We're just evaluating to see where the team is. Preseason came. We're just evaluating to see what the team is. Like, I knew right then and there he wasn't trying to win nothing. I knew it.
Oh no! Don't get him that out. Don't get him that out. Listen,
he was
that was the wrong philosophy. I agree with you, Luke. That was the wrong philosophy. But I think,
but every head coach who comes in has to do an evaluation of his players, especially if you know you're going to be changing the defense. We went from a 4-3 to a 3-4. So yeah, he's got to evaluate who can fit into this system, who can't. I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong with him when he didn't start Glover Quinn over Tavon Wilson to get the Jets. I was trying to figure out what happened. In fact, if you go back to those videos, you would hear me going off like, you really started Tavon Wilson over Glover Quinn, and then when you put Glover Quinn in, we was back to business as usual. But by that point, it was already gone. And that was probably a horrible game for Stafford at that point. But no, he came in and did something that has been on the record for so many people. Glover Quinn has said it. Darius Slay has talked. He came in with this mindset that I need to blow this up. That's what he said. He said I need to blow this up. He came in with this mindset. But what he didn't realize was he didn't come in with the idea of rebuild. He came in with blow up the defense. He supposed to do renovation.
Right.
He like it's almost like somebody paid him to put drywall up to make a room bigger, and he set the house on fire to start over. It didn't make sense.
Right.
You know,
that's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say. I guess he was trying to tear down and do his thing from jump. So I don't know if you want to call that a rebuild or not, but I just seen him trying to put stuff together in his mind and him like taking pieces out, putting pieces in, and just trying to put the puzzle together, man. And I just, yeah, I mean, it was the wrong philosophy, definitely, but that's what
in the
he was trying
word.
to do.
I mean,
In the
like,
words,
there's no excuses for that. Then I don't care
Right.
what
No,
he's
no,
trying
I
to do.
agree. I
He's
agree. Ain't no
supposed to be in the playoffs. Like, I man, no excuses for that at all.
in the words of Darius Slay, we got all the right pieces to the puzzle, but they're not being put in the right spot. And to answers like that's not a question, but like Antoine, you have make a very good point. He said, I think fans gave high expectations and should have just waited and seen. But it's like, dude, like if you go through and you look like Jim Schwartz had a rough, year. Caldwell came in and went 11-5. Here's a guy coming from the New England Patriots who's supposed to be a defensive guru. Our problem was defense, and we didn't look like a good defense.
No,
then we
finally
got Snacks and started getting a little respectability, but then Snacks wanted out.
Right.
So it's like, come on, at some point we got to keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? We have to keep it 100.
Well, on that tack too. So, Devontae Adams came out and said that every time he faces the Lions, he knows our coverages. Every time he faces Slay, he knows whether Slay is playing whether he's playing man or whether he's playing zone. And my question to the panel is does it matter? Do you think it matters that he knows our coverages, considering how much success he has versus the Lions, no matter who the quarterback is? So
Yes,
we're going to
does.
start off with you, right or wrong.
I mean, if he knows the coverages, then why didn't he do anything about it? In the last game, he didn't have 100 yards. In the last game, I think I saw a stat that Aaron Rodgers threw more incompletions in that game than he'd thrown in the rest of his career. Like in a single game, he threw the most incompletions in a single game in his career. So if they knew the coverage, why didn't they beat it more? Why did we cause more incompletions than Rodgers had incompletions? I guess is my question. If they know the coverage so well.
Well, I mean, but what Aaron Rodgers is doing don't have nothing to do with what Devontae Adams is. He still has the numbers regardless of that.
Yeah,
like Devontae Adams was torching us with Brett Hundley.
Yeah,
because he knows the coverages, and I think that does matter. But PD Sports, what do you think about this? Do you think it matters that Devontae Adams knows our coverages and knows whether Slay is playing zone or man?
I don't think it's as big. I might sound a little dumb here, but I don't think it's as big of a deal as it's being made out to be. Like, and back on your point with Devontae Adams torching us, Ryder, like Aaron Rodgers, he was just missing throws in that game in Week 17 against us. It wasn't that he was going to the right spots. It looked like he just was missing a million throws. No, but as far as this. As far as this being a big deal, I mean, it's not anything new. The Jets came out and said they knew our plays. I mean, that was sucked. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
But
that was a big deal.
No, you're right. But it's not anything new. Quarterbacks and receivers, I think they all know how to read the defenses. Like Danny Amendola.
But why is he saying? Isn't he saying that about the Vikings or Bears then?
I have a good question. That actually is a good point. They're not saying that about anybody but us. But, we're just one of those teams that they just have to trash. That just seems like they need a franchise to trash, and we are always the stepping ground for people. But, it happens. Like I mean, let's be honestly, I bet Devontae Adams knows how to read the Vikings and the Bears defenses. At times, I'm sure there's times he's wrong where he's like, oh, they're giving me a different look. I didn't expect this based on that formation.
But yeah, I just feel like it does matter. But we got the hook cam in the building. Yeah. What's good?
Hey,
what's up, everybody?
I just want to say, I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying I don't think it's as big of a deal as it's being made out to be.
Right.
Man.
Okay, you guys, make sure you guys like that video if you haven't already, and drop your comments about do you think it matters that Devontae Adams knows our coverages or not. But we gonna go to you, Luke G. Do you think it matters that he says that he knows our coverages of our defense?
Yes. We listen, people. If he had said this in the same year that the Jets said they knew our stuff, okay, coaching, learning how to be a head coach, cool. I'm making an excuse for him. This year too. And why it matters is this. A lot of the times it may not be the player who knows what's going on that's torching it as much as the team knows what's going on who's torching it. If you watch, and when he first said it, I thought he was like calling BS. I was like, he calling BS. But I went back and looked at that game, people. And they were sending people in motion often just to check to see if it was the defense. And then they would call their play, and if they realized it was man, they'll run it. And then sometimes they'll look and be like, "Oh, he can't get out of this." And you was able to see like, I'll be damned, they did know. And the reason it was a big deal and why it matters is because you have to be able to disguise your stuff. You cannot be a defensive guru and treating it like Coach Boone. I think it was Go Line who said that. When Coach Boone was like, it's like Novocaine. Give it time and it'll always work. This is the NFL. If you tip your hand like in poker, you're going to lose your money. And in too often, they knew what was happening. They knew what was going on. So to me, the fact that he comes out and he says this, that tells me that like so many other people outside of the room, that's not in the organization. And then he said, I told Slay this, but they probably going to change it after this. That lets me know that he told them this before Slay was gone. Before Slay left. And I bet you that what he said was true. And he even talked about it in that interview where he said there were some catches where I thought I had my feet in, but I didn't. I could have did a better job doing this. I could have did a better job doing that. But they knew what we were doing. And that's the only thing that matters. If you know what we're doing, that's not good. It should never stand.
Yeah, I definitely agree that there is no way you can tell me a elite receiver knowing what we're doing doesn't matter, especially when Aaron Rodgers has been his quarterback for the last 8 years. So that definitely matters. And I know what you were talking about earlier, PD, but I didn't hear people bashing Jim Caldwell and saying, "Oh yeah, he got a cupcake team over there. We can read everything they do." I didn't hear none of that about Jim Caldwell.
That's where I disagree. Remember, Golden Tate came out and said, people are constantly coming up to me and telling me the play that they're going to run before we run it. Remember?
Right.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that did happen. That happened.
That's on JT, though. That's not all. But he didn't relate that to Caldwell, though. He related that to the team as a whole. But Hook Cam, I definitely want to know your opinion on this since you're a Patriots guy. But Devontae Adams, he was in an interview and he was talking about how he knows our coverages and he knows when Slay is playing zone or man. Slay even confirmed it himself. So do you think it matters that he knows our coverages? And we have to remember Devontae Adams has 100 yards against the Lions almost every game. So yeah.
I can start off by saying it's not a good thing. I mean, if you got a receiver who it's definitely not good. Let me put it this way, because my mind always goes offense first, just because that's what I played, that's what I coached. Offensively, if we knew that we could manipulate a coverage into a certain if we knew that we could, if we line up by 3-by-1. Right. And we know every time this happened at a high school I coached at. Every time we went 3-by-1, our defensive coordinator would check to cover 3. Every single time. 3-by-1. We would start off in 2-by-2. They would have 2 high safeties. We'd motion one receiver across the field. They'd go to single high safety. Now you're in cover 3. I know you're in cover 3. Now I know exactly what I'm going to pick apart as a quarterback. And as a receiver, you know exactly when you're going to get the ball. So anytime you're going to tip your hand, anytime you're going to let guys know, any disguises like that just go out the door as soon as you step on the field, not good. I can tell you that is something that needs to be fixed. It should be fixed immediately.
Right.
And one of the things that one of the things that I've talked with guys who coach in the NFL, talked with guys who coach in college, the differences between college and the NFL In college, you're going to run something and it's going to work for a drive, and then it's going to get fixed the next time you go out there. So offensively, if you're like, I know that we are crushing them with our quick game. When we run curls on the outside, we're just annihilating them with our quick game. The next drive in college, when you go out there, that shouldn't be there. That should not happen. In the NFL, if you run something and it works, that should be fixed in 2 plays, 1 play. Because we got coaches upstairs who are talking. That's what the green dot is on the helmet, right? The green dot is for guys who hear what the coach is saying. So if a coach is saying, "Hey, when we go this, they're doing this. We got to fix that." Okay, we relay that message to the players and we get rolling. So the fact that a receiver in conference or in division, I should say, is coming out and saying, "I knew exactly what they were going to be in every single play," or something to that effect, really, really, really bad. That's really bad. There needs to be changes if that's the case. And I am coming in a little bit late, so I don't know if it was that extreme. But you guys get what I'm saying.
You was on point, man.
You spot on, bro.
He said he watched over 200 clips of our defensive snaps, and we didn't change the coverages. And I know he knows it when he goes out there, and I'm like, really? Like, we ain't do it a couple times, Devontae?
And it's year 2. It's year 2, though. It's year 2, bro.
All right. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's year 2. What he did is the equivalent to leaving your doors on lock and putting a sign that says, "Come on in, take whatever you want." It's that bad. You gotta be able to keep people guessing. I'll never forget this. Like most of my family are Pittsburgh Steelers fans, right? My uncle can recite to you every Steelers statistic since the beginning of time of Steeler Nation. And he ain't gonna miss a beat, right? He hit me up one day and showed me, I want to do film study. We watched a film on the Pittsburgh Steelers when they had the steel curtain, right? He was like, what defense is this? This is how I learned how to play this. He said, what defense is this? I was like, cover 2. Nope. It was that disguised. It was that confusing. You thought that certain people wasn't coming, and then they came. You thought... Go to the time where they had Troy Polamalu. Polamalu would be way out in the deep third. Next thing you know, he flying up the middle. Like where did it come from?
Yeah. And that's the thing with the NFL is sorry for going on a rant here, but like you in the NFL, the athletes are so good. Like you look at Seattle's defense, which is a more basic 4-3, right? It's pretty simple. You know what you're going to get. But what they do is because every defense is gap sound and every person in that front 7 has a gap that they're responsible for. Well, Bobby Wagner could be responsible for the A gap, but if they're in 3-by-1, Bobby Wagner could be lined up outside the tackle. But Bobby Wagner is so damn fast and so damn good, he's going to close the A gap like that, and you're going to get stopped for a gain of 1. So you can disguise it with that. And one thing, I guess this actually ties in well because it's NFC North. The Vikings do this constantly, where you will see Harrison Smith lined up within 5 to 6 yards of the line of scrimmage, and then pre-snap, he drops back. He's booking it back to the secondary because they drop into 2. So as you're a quarterback, right, you get in your cadence, you check, okay, we got single high. As soon as I start my cadence and I'm ready to say set, go, now Harrison Smith is dropping and now we're in cover 2. That changes everything that you got to do. And now you're hoping that your receivers are on the same page. So if Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers and that Packers offense know exactly what's going to happen every single snap when they play the Lions, that's not good. You need to change that. You have to change things up. You have to keep those guys on their toes, because if you don't, you're going to get toasted.
I agree.
My main thing is
Cam, this is why I love you.
My main thing is that it matters because Davante Adams is so successful against the line. Like he's extreme. Like he's one of the best. Him and Jordy Nelson, like they tear us apart. Like Jordy used to tear. Like he's so good against the Lions. So apparently it's working. But we gonna go to you, Detroit Sports Room. What do you think about Davante Adams saying he knows our coverages? Do you think it matters?
I think it matters, and it's not the first time. I mean, the Jets said that they knew what we were calling on offense too. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not even like Hook Camp said. This isn't even professional level. You know what I mean? If you're getting that out of your coaching staff, that's not even professional level. But the thing is, to me, didn't the Packers only beat us by a point and need the refs to do it?
Yeah, but Davante Adams wasn't in the first game.
Oh, that's true. But the same in the second game, it wasn't that it wasn't a blowout or anything, right?
Well, no, the second game was 23-20.
One of his worst games ever.
It was 23-20. Bro, hold on, wait. It was 23-20, 23-20, but at halftime it was 17-3. Detroit Lions was up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if they're
And
reading everything we're doing, how does Rodgers have one of the worst games he's had?
Well,
it just doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense.
Because when have you ever seen Aaron Rodgers? Like Aaron Rodgers was missing so many throws. I was like almost convinced we were going to win the game, and when we didn't, I was actually upset. Like
So
he missed like 4 touchdowns.
So if it's true, it's
he
bad.
just overthrew the guys.
So if it's true, it's really bad. But just think to yourself, if this is true, then how come they weren't a lot more successful against us?
But they was.
He is.
They was. He was missing.
Yeah.
He was missing.
Yeah, he was.
Well,
I was
still,
at that game.
Still.
I was at that game watching. He was missing a lot of passes. A lot. I was looking at my.
I was at that game as well. But,
Packer fan. I was looking at him like, oh man, your boy off today.
All the Packers fans in the building were definitely they were like shook, and they're like it was some Packers. They're like, I know we're not about to lose this game, yeah. Like Packers fans was getting scared. But we're gonna go to you, Real. What do you think about this? Do you think it matters that Davante Adams says he knows our coverages?
Yeah, it 100% matters, and it pisses me off that every time we hear about snowing coverages or plays, it's always about the Detroit Lions. It really makes me angry. And look, not only did he say that he knew when Darius Slay was lining up, whether he was lining up in man or zone, he knew what he was going to do. He knew that we were not disguising our coverages. He said in all of the film he watched, Darius Slay did not follow receivers when he was lining up in zone. And when he was in man, he always followed the receivers. So he knew exactly every move that Darius Slay was going to make. You might as well hand him our defensive playbook. I guess like what of us even having a playbook or coming up with schemes if the other team knows it. And it is exactly like when we faced the Jets and we got blown out in the season opener and everybody was scratching their head like, what the hell happened? Is Sam Darnold really like a football god, or did we just like what happened? No, they knew our plays and they came out later and said we knew every single play that you guys were doing, and it was ridiculous. And that was one of the reasons why I said we needed to fire Jim Bob Cooter. So hopefully this was something that was a Paul Pasqualoni issue, and that Corey Underlin, maybe somehow with what he was doing on the Eagles and in Denver, maybe he could translate a more diverse playbook, more disguised schemes. What we need. Hook Cam, I appreciate you coming on here and bringing that coaching aptitude here to the round table, because I definitely don't have it. So I'm a Zoom. I'm taking notes when you're talking, but seriously, it is detrimental to this team that opponents see what we're doing and they know exactly. But yeah, go ahead, man.
No, like I said, every time he's on, I learn something. And I would rather Davante Adams not know what we're doing. And I guarantee you this: with Corey Underlin there, Davante Adams is not gonna know, because he's a defensive back specialist. He's gonna switch some things up. But PD, what do you think about this? Do you think it matters that he knows our coverages?
Oh, I went already.
Right or wrong, did you go? Did we get everybody?
OMG.
Go ahead, OMG.
Yeah, I think it's a big problem, man, because it's just being from a player point of view. If I line up right and I see Darius Slay 7-8 yards off the ball, I'm about to signal to Aaron Rodgers I'm about to run a 7-yard comeback route because he's playing soft coverage. Okay, so if you can get any yak after the catch, you already know 7 yards, and then I'm going. Then I cut to the sideline. And I'm gone. And if he's playing man, and he's shaded to the inside, then you're looking at Rodgers like, okay, I'm gonna run a 9-yard out. I'm gonna plant in, and I'm gonna bounce off that and go to the out route. Like what routes to run when it based on the coverage, and if a guy is just head up and he's man, he's like a yard or two off the ball, you already know I can do a double move and I can go. Because when receivers line up, they have 1, 2, or 3 options what they can do with that route, or they can break it off or run different routes. Mm-hmm. That's why you see quarterbacks signaling. They're like, oh, yeah, black 33, because they know what the defense is doing, and that's their way of getting to the receiver and saying, look, run this route because he's doing this and he can't stop it. And I just that upset me a lot.
Yeah, I understand.
It's a good point because like Rodgers,
very, very vivid. So was that everybody?
Well, can I ask Hook Cam a question real fast?
Yeah.
Hi, Hook. I guess my question is like, I guess why I don't think it's as big. Like, does Tom Brady not like guess or not even guess, not know what defense the opposition is in 99% of the time? Did Peyton Manning not know what defense the opposition was in 99% of the time? So that's kind of, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm getting at.
Does Mr. Trubisky know
I
what
totally
defense the offense is in 99% of the time? Like, those are special guys.
Yeah, well, the thing is, and it's a good question, and it's not something that everybody would know, but so coaching, this is a very like long answer question, so I'll do this one short form. Basically, like when you get into the NFL, you're going to be an understudy under a certain coach, right? If I go into the league and I'm going to be under Belichick, I'm going to be an understudy under Belichick. I'm going to be part of that Belichick coaching tree. Now, he's going to have his preferences against certain things and against certain teams. So when I go branch off and I go coach, once I'm done with New England and I go coach in, let's say, I don't know, Dallas or whatever, I'm going to bring a lot of those philosophies to Dallas. So there's going to be some semblance of what we ran in New England. At this point, and this spans throughout the entirety of the NFL. So you have an idea of what guys are going to run. Not only do they have the coaching tree, but there's also other game film. So like you use the examples of Brady and Manning, and what they did isn't necessarily different. It's just way, way better than what the average quarterback is going to do. So like with Brady and Manning, first off, you've watched hours upon hours of film. You know every team that you're going to play, especially in division. You know exactly what they like to run. You know what they like to do on third down. You know all of their tendencies. So when you step up to the line of scrimmage, that's why you'd see Brady throw hot all the time. That's why James White would have games where he'd have 14 catches. Because Brady would walk up to the line and be like, all right, I know that they're going to drop into two. Their Mike's going to take middle of the field. I'm going to have my back underneath that. I'm just going to dump it down to him once I hit my back, once I get to the top of my drop. So you know what's going to happen based off of film first and foremost, and then based off of kind of where those coaches have come from and what you've seen from them, I guess, basically on film. So the unknown. If I had a quarterback who like the Sam Darnold thing this last year, where he's like I'm seeing ghosts out there. That's really scary to hear from your franchise guy. That's really that is worrisome. Because if you
I understand like that for the most part you do know what teams are running, but it's about whether you can stop it or not.
100%. And the thing is that like if you have the face of your franchise who's like, I don't know, coach, I don't know what they're running out there, and you're trying to tell them like that's scary. So you do know what's going to happen. It's about execution, and it's about doing it better than the other team does it. And on top of all of that, you add this to the NFL, it's about your adjustments. And that's one of the biggest things that I look for in teams making runs and later in the season. How many points do they give up in the second half? Are they going into halftime and talking things over and making adjustments and coming out and looking not like a different team, but a better team and having answers? Or are they coming out in the second half and getting pumped for another 28 points? Because there's just some major red flags if that happens.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like quarterback matters. Because Patrick Mahomes said he couldn't read defenses his first year. Yeah. And Sam Darnold is still goes.
But I think overall the message that Cam is pointing out is, and this with PD, I think what he's overall saying is this: even if they do know, them knowing that the other team know what they're doing makes them better, because if they think that I'm going to hit you with a left hook and I catch you with that right, you should be looking like snap. I can't believe that I thought he was coming with this left and he brought that right. Where did that right come from? And the kind of make it more into our language, PD, it's Dragon Ball Z all over again. How many times had they thought he was gonna throw a power bomb or something, and he disappeared, was on the left, and he's like, "When did you get over here?" It's about being able to. It's about playing mind games with him. You can think you know until I punch you in the face, and now the plan is different.
Right. When you see that safety walk up. Like when you look at the defense, when you're a quarterback, right, you see a safety walk up and he's about a yard or 2 yards away from a linebacker, right? And you got 3 wide and 2 on the left, 1 on the right. You know that inside guy is gonna run a smoke screen. His whole job is to make a hard cut and then take that safety with them, and that backside receiver is gonna come and fill in where that safety was. You know what I'm saying? Like that's big, man. There's no way to underplay that. Like for you knowing,
yeah.
It's all the same. Don't get me wrong. You see what
you're right. I mean, we got some different opinions on it, but at the end of the day, when you look at the results on the field, I don't feel good about nothing that he's saying. So one of the best players in the NFL, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, D lineman in the NFL, Chris Jones he wants to be traded, and he wants $20 million per year. And my question to all of you guys is: should the Lions trade for Chris Jones? We're gonna start with you, Real.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of money, so I'd like for us to make a big power move, especially if this really is a win now year like they said it was. Corey Underlin, he recently came out and said that he's comfortable with the depth of the defensive tackle position, and I just don't agree with that because these are completely new guys. Danny Shelton has never played for us. Nick Williams is never us, and then you got Pennicini and who else do we get? Somebody else in the draft,
Kevin
and then
Strong.
As well as we got Kevin Strong. We got some guys for depth as well. But, I don't know. I mean, we don't have that big dynamic playmaker. And I guess if we're going to play a lot of 3-4 and just using a nose tackle, I guess fine, but I'd like to have us do a little more 4-3. So I'd like to have, a couple guys in there that could pocket, but we'll see what happens. But I would love for them to make a move like that or to get somebody else. Maybe Everson Griffin is still available or something like that.
Well, Everson Griffin is much different from Chris Jones right now, but I understand the sentiments. We need D linemen. All right, Hook Cam, do you think the Lions should trade for Chris Jones? We have $29 million in cap space, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah. This is. I didn't know that Chris Jones came out and said that yesterday. What a massive blow to Kansas City because he was the heart and soul of that defense last year. He didn't necessarily always show up on the stat sheet. It wasn't like he racked up, he had 15 and a half sacks in 2018. And then he only had I want to say it was 8 or something like that last year. This dude is a game changer, in my opinion, on the defensive front. And he's not somebody who gets all the pub, I think, as opposed to someone like an Aaron Donald per se. Where he fits in this 3-4 scheme is still kind of up in the air for me because I don't know his height and weight off the top of my head, though. He could be a true 4-eye and line up on the inside shade of the tackle. That's where the 4-eye is, for those who don't know. And I think that he's also dynamic enough to be a nose tackle. So should the Lions do it? If they have cap space and they can go and make a move like this, 100% you should. Because this dude's going to make an impact and he changes a lot for that for that front seven. He's going to open up linebackers. He's going to open up other dudes on the defensive line. I think that he would be talking about moving the needle. Trading for a guy like Chris Jones and then trying to sign him to an extension is just that. I would be all for it, but again, the numbers have to be there, and there has to be. It's just got to be there. And someone, I think D-Map's talking about Kenny Golladay too. That's another thing that's coming down the pipe. How are you going to fit both of those guys in there? So just something to think about.
I mean, now, maybe they'll figure out a way. Go ahead.
No, I want to give him this. Cam, he's 6'6", 311, according to NFL.com.
Jesus. So yeah, he can play that 4-eye.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and to me personally, I could be wrong, but to me, he can play any position on the D line. It doesn't matter what it is. Yeah. So you
lined up everywhere.
Anywhere. So to me, the what type of defense doesn't matter as long as you use him correctly. You know what I'm saying? But okay, OMG is Lions. So what do you think about this? Should the Lions trade for Chris Jones? I know we talked about this before, but let the people know what you think.
Definitely. At first, I was kind of like, but I mean, now when I think about it, Danny Shelton signed a 2-year, $8 million deal. That's basically backup money. You know what I'm saying? So I would, just for real, you know what I'm saying? So I would go ahead and sign Chris Jones until Danny Shelton, hey, you can go in and give him some relief on downs. But I'm going all in. Chris Jones, was he like 25, 26?
Yeah, he's young.
25 years old.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm giving him a clear flowers type contract. So I'm taking him, man. He's a game changer. He's a difference maker. He's like Ndamukong Suh too. You know what I'm saying? Playing in that middle role, and he can slide a little bit and play some 5 tech and 3 tech. So yeah, man, I'm all in on the Chris Jones bandwagon.
Yeah, as Steve will say, 9.5 sacks last year, and he says he was in a 3-4 in 2018. Well, they did have a different defensive coordinator, and they did switch defenses. Also, General View says, I wonder why he wants to get traded. I don't think he wants to get traded. He just wants $20 million, and if the Chiefs
wants his money,
he's like, well, I got a Super Bowl ring. You can trade me. I'm in my prime. Like once players get that ring and they're at the top of their game, to me, I feel like you should pay him, try to build a dynasty, but it's football, so that's very rare. But yeah, he's gonna want to be paid. And plus, Frank Clark is being paid, and he's like, I'm better than this guy. Maybe that's how he feels. Like I should be getting paid too. And the Chiefs can't afford to pay him $20 million. They got to pay Patrick Mahomes. They paying Tyreek Hill. They paying Travis Kelce. They paying some offensive linemen, Tyrann Mathieu. They paying some people. Like they done paying people until Patrick Mahomes. So they not going to be able to afford that guy. But all right, Luke G, what do you think about this, man?
Luke had a call.
Luke G, yeah.
All right, go ahead. Right or wrong? What do you think about this?
I mean, if we can afford it, I think absolutely. My only question is, like with Kenny Galladay and Taylor Decker and all these people coming up, do we have the cap space to do it?
Taylor Decker?
Well, okay. People coming up.
Maybe.
No, he's spitting facts. We have a lot of people coming up on contract, man. What do you mean? We have a lot of people coming up. We got to pay them.
Yeah, that's my only question. I mean, if we can afford it, I think absolutely. Like the Hook Cam said, I mean, he's a game changer, and I like a lot of the pieces on the defensive line, but I don't think I could point to a guy right now on the defense and say that guy is a game changer. So I think if the Detroit Lions can add it, they definitely should.
All right.
Well, I feel like Trey Flowers is a game changer, but I feel like it's levels, to game changing. And Chris Jones is in that Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack type level. And Trey Flowers a little bit below because he's a very good player, but Chris Jones is just better.
Right. That's what I was saying.
Like, it's simple as that. But PD, what do you think about this? Should the Lions trade for Chris Jones?
Good question. That's a tough one, because we do have all the contracts coming up and stuff like that. But honestly, I'm gonna say let's go ahead and trade for Chris Jones. I'm all for I'm on the Chris Jones hype train right now. Let's do it.
The Detroit Spurs room, Jim, I want to ask you a question. So do you think we should trade for Chris Jones? Because I got a follow-up question right after that.
Yeah, I do.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so we all talking about trading for Chris Jones. If the Chiefs we want compensation, and that means picks, are y'all willing to give up a lot of draft capital?
You know what? I think this. Number one, when you get a player like this, and I do think it's a generational player because of the fact that we've got a young secondary coming up, because I think Trufant's going to be here for a couple of years, but I think Obrien is the number 2 going forward with Okudah, and that's a pretty young secondary. You make your secondary better with pressure. You make your linebackers better with a defensive tackle that can get after the quarterback and wreak havoc in the backfield, that makes his throws a little bit quicker than he'd like them to be. It's a game changer on the defense, so I would say yes, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Okay, so and the official situation is he did get franchise tag, but he's threatening to hold out if they don't pay him. So that's why he's gonna be in the trade, because they don't have to trade him. If it actually comes down to it, they probably have to trade him if he's.
But really also, serious. If you have to trade somebody, the value goes down.
Right, and we might be able to just get like 1 first-round pickup for him, which would be a miracle to me. So, just giving up 1 first.
You remember when Khalil Mack wanted out, and it was like, the Bears had to give up all that. I don't know if I'd do all that, but
they won a division.
I think he changes the defense. I really do.
Would y'all trade that?
I think we have a good offense, and I think that this player could change our defense. I know we need linebacker help, but
but Steve, a good stat. Steve-O put up in 2018, the last year they ran that 3-4 defense, he had 15 and a half sacks.
Yeah.
Like that's you can't give up enough for that, man. That's 15 and a half sacks from an interior D lineman. Oh man, that's crazy, man. Like you got to give the whole house, the car, my shoes, my socks, the crumbs in between my toes for him.
He said the crumbs.
I don't know about all that.
All right, well, make sure.
I don't know about all that.
But shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys like the video if you haven't already. Now on that tack, we're gonna make sure. Wait, did I get to everybody first? Luke, are you back? All right. So
Okay.
on that tack, that we're gonna talk about should the Lions go all in for a championship this year and make some power moves? Now I want to ask Hook Cam because he's a Patriots fan. So we only say this because we've never done it before, and you know how bad we are as a team. Like I don't have to tell you. And like looking at, I just feel like if we added a few pieces, that could just be what we needed to get over the hump. I mean, the Rams got over the hump. All they added was Marcus Peters and Akeem Talib and like a couple players. The Bears literally added Khalil Mack. We add Chris Jones and another power player with our offense that's gonna be top 8 in the league no matter what. Like now we're talking about a team that can really be a contender. So my thing is asking you, do you think we should take that bid and go all out? And like I said, we got cap space. We in a mandate year. Everybody's job is on the line. It's a lot of serious things going on. But okay, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that they should, but it's not really have to sell the farm. Like don't, and it's something that it's one of my hard takes, I guess I would say. What's up? Can you guys hear me?
I was about to say, yeah, you cut out for a second. It like sped up.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, say that again.
All right, my bad. No, all I said basically was that I don't think that the Lions would really have to sell the farm. If you get a guy like Chris Jones on that defensive front, he's going to open up so much stuff for you. He's going to open up lanes for linebackers. He's going to put more pressure on the quarterback. He's going to be as solid as a run defender. And I think that if you do that, like you guys are Lions fans, how much more faith would you have in this staff and this front office if they just said, you know what, screw it, we're going all in. They push all their chips in the middle of the table. To me, as somebody who's kind of an outsider looking in, I look at that and I go, this is awesome. They believe in Matt Stafford. They believe in this offense. They're putting their faith in Patricia. It's on him now whether to do it or not. They're giving him every bit of ammunition he needs, including a high-profile guy like Chris Jones to go and do something. And I like I said before, I think that the Lions are going to be competitive. If they really went all in, it doesn't shock me to see them beat the Packers. It doesn't shock me to see them beat the Vikings. And the Bears are the Bears. They're still a ways away. Like I think they should, because again, I don't think that it would really be giving up a ton. I think that you would still have draft capital. Obviously, there would be contract stuff that you would have to figure out down the road, but that's part of going in all in on a championship run, is the fact that you're kind of putting things on the back burner, like contracts and like your financial situation and your cap room. So I think that they should. I think that would be exactly what that fan base needs. And I think that it would be really great to see Matt Stafford on a team that, again, I'm a big Stafford guy, but it'd be great to see Stafford on a team where, it seems like this coach and this front office is doing everything they can to give him every weapon and every, defensive tool necessary to put together a championship run.
Right, and the Stafford detractors are tired of the excuses. Well, give them a stacked team, and the excuses are gone. So, but that hasn't happened yet. And, I just feel like not every team that goes all in wins a Super Bowl. But you can't tell me of a team. You can't find me a team that's went all in and it didn't turn out that they were very successful that year. And we haven't really had any success. So we go to a Super Bowl, win or lose. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with going to the championship game. If we want to be that serious, and we still got next year, we're going to have the same squad. So we can rebuild.
That's what I'm saying. Like for you guys as fans, how great would it be And for me, I want to see the Lions do well too. You guys have sucked me into this little family we got here. Like, how refreshing would it be to sit there and look at a front office and be like, wow, they're doing everything they can to try and go out and win now. That's going to change. That's going to turn some heads. That's going to change some opinions.
Yeah, and that's what's been my problem with, because I feel like some of the moves and free agency, they weren't trying to do that. But all right, right or wrong, we're gonna go to you. What do you think? Do you think the Lions should go all in for a championship and make some power moves?
Yeah, 100%. I think last year the Detroit Lions showed that they were competitive in every game. What was it, like 14 games? We were ahead in the fourth quarter or something. I mean, I just feel like if we're that competitive, then you can't be that far away from, being good. And obviously we added a ton in the offseason this year on the defensive side of the ball. So if we could add a superstar like Chris Jones, like, maybe even a Jamal Adams or like a superstar, I really think that this team could go over the edge. So yeah, I think that they are one piece away, and I think they should definitely go all in for, making a big power move or something like that.
Right, no doubt, no doubt. What do you think about this, Jim?
Yeah, I think I went already on that, but yeah, I think they should. I mean, like right or wrong said, we were pretty close last year with all the injuries that we had last year. It is so amazing that we were ahead in so many games without Stafford, without Deshaun Hand. Slay was hurt last year. Your running back room was destroyed last year. I'm telling you, I think we should go all in, because you know what? If we don't win, we're going to go through another rebuild for sure. And yeah, I think we do. I think we do.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. What do you think about this, OMG?
Definitely, I think they should, man. They should go all in. I mean, if they could, they should go all in, because you got the GM, you got the coach. They're thinking as much on one accord as a coach and a GM can possibly think, and just to give the fans excitement. Just, like, imagine if the Lions were actual Super Bowl contenders. Like, do you know how much craziness that would be, how much madness that would be? I think I wouldn't be able to stop going on Facebook pages to all these people going and just teasing them and laughing at them like, we deserve this, man. People would be like, oh, you just a Lions. Oh, y'all gonna lose. Y'all might be up 14 with 4 minutes left in the fourth, but y'all gonna find a way to lose. And for us to finally do it and finally go for it, man, and not be tightwads with our pockets or spend money on illegitimate players that nobody even cares about. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
man,
and my thing is, and JGB brought it up in the chat about the Eagles, but when has it really not worked? Like, the Eagles is probably the only team in recent memory, and to me, I just felt like that's their fault. Like, that's their own fault, and that wouldn't happen to us, considering like how vulnerable our division is. Our division is like, so every team over the last 10 years have been like so close together. Like, it might be a team that's clearly better, but the level of competition between the teams are so close that if you add one great player to one team in the division, all of a sudden that team on top. The Packers literally added Zadarius and Preston Smith and won the division. The year before, Chicago added Khalil Mack and won the division. Like,
Right.
This is what I'm talking about. So we need to add Chris Jones or Jamal Adams. Just add somebody and try to go for that division crown. But moving on to the next question. So I want to talk about DeAndre Swift, and will he actually bring a running game to Detroit? Do you think DeAndre Swift will be the guy that refreshes Detroit with that star running game that we've been asking for and we've been needing? We're gonna start off with you, Real.
Look, so we have a game my entire life, so it's hard for me to just say yes, this guy's the key, this guy's the chosen one. But with that being said, I love the depth that we have at running back. I love having Swift and Kerryon as our 1 and 2. I talk a lot of smack about Huntley, but it's good to have a guy that's a change of pace back like that. We haven't had that since like Theo Riddick. Hopefully he could take over that role. Hopefully he could do punt returns, do some cool things there. And then I also love Bo Scarborough and what he brought to the table last year, running up the gut. Very much Darrell Bevel's forte, so I like that a lot. And Ty Johnson as well. If he does make the team, he's dynamic as well. And I think that he'd be in a lot of fans' favor if Taylor Decker wasn't always, whenever Ty Johnson had like a 40-yard run. But, so with all that depth, I want to say yes, like with the addition of DeAndre Swift, we're going to have an amazing run game. And, the addition of, Mr. Nasty or however he goes by, and guys that we got this offseason for the O-line and Big V and everybody, I want to say yes, but, history has disappointed me one too many. I'm going to say, wait and see,
So you just spent that whole time talking about how it's not going to happen, but you wish it will. I understand.
Exactly.
like you built up our O-line. You like, yeah, we got all this great stuff, but yeah, nah, it's not happening.
Nah.
Right or wrong.
Yeah.
You think that DeAndre Swift specifically will bring a refreshing running game back to Detroit?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the history of Georgia running backs to come out recently, you got Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, and Todd Gurley are the top three. They're all really good. Generally, when the SEC puts out a running back, they're pretty good in the NFL. I can't think of an SEC running back recently that's come out and been a huge bust for people. If anybody can, let me know. But, I mean, the last one I could think of is Trent Williams, but that was almost a decade ago. The SEC puts out really good running backs, and I don't think DeAndre Swift is going to be the exception.
All right, I like that. PD, what do you think about this, man?
Well, I'm kind of I'm entirely on the I'm on the wait and see train. I can't. That's why I want to say we'll see what happens. I'm not going to make any. I know I was really high on not high. I was really drunk on Kool-Aid on that the NFL draft. I've come down a little bit, but no, I'm on a wait and see. I'm definitely more on a wait and see. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I'm not going to say it isn't going to happen. I just hope it happens.
Okay, so basically what Real said. The hook cam. Do you think DeAndre Swift specifically will bring a refreshing running game back to Detroit?
I think it'll happen. I really do. I think that Detroit's going to turn a corner this year in terms of their running game. I don't think that it's going to be just DeAndre Swift, though. I think that we look at the additions that they've made on the offensive line with Vitae and with the guys that they drafted. There was a concentrated effort to go and get nastier up front, and then you go and you complement that with a guy like DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift is a fantastic athlete. We've seen what he can do at Georgia. We've seen his explosive ability in the biggest games on the biggest stages of college football. I don't think that that's going to necessarily change once he steps foot in Detroit. But again, I think that my biggest part of this question that I do want to say is that it's not just a DeAndre Swift thing. I think that he's going to have a good rookie year. I think him and Kerryon are a really good complement for each other. But I think that the concentrated effort we've seen out of the Detroit front office to go and draft offensive linemen and bring guys in who can really try and pound the rock, I think that everything is going to contribute and hopefully turn out very nicely. But if I was a betting man, I would say yes, it's going to be a much more explosive running game this year.
Yeah, that's because you're not a Lions fan.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Give me a season, guys.
He's seeing clearly. He doesn't have any bias. Like he's just looking at it with the paper and the trends and how things should turn out. How it should turn out.
Well,
right.
Well, yeah. Let me just JMO, because it's on paper. I'd agree with Hook Cam 100%. But look, we're dealing with a franchise that gets shit on by the rest of the league and the media and everybody. Like, to me, you're like an innocent child that hasn't been revealed to the trials of the real world. You know what I mean? Like, once you have a year under your belt as a Lions fan and you're like, man, this really should have worked out. What happened? I love seeing your optimism, man, but it's hard. It's hard to see your dreams be crushed like the rest of us.
I don't think his dreams are actually gonna be crushed. And Hook, I wouldn't say it's gonna be like just Swift. I just feel like on the panel, I have 100% faith in a healthy Kerryon, but I feel like when you add Swift, it's the combination. Mm-hmm. It just changes. Oh, yeah. That's why I'm talking about him specifically, because adding him is what's going to take us to the next level. Not because of him. He might not even be the best back on the team.
Yeah, I mean, you look at
that guy. It's just a whole different dynamic. Like I know Sony Michel isn't the leading back, but once you added him with James White and Devlin,
exactly where I was going to go with it. Yep, and the advantage to having that two-headed attack in the backfield is like, I mean, it's the same thing as I kind of think of it like basketball, right? Where it's like, if you can get a guy in with fresh legs and you're going up against a guy who's been playing for, 20 plus minutes, you're going to want that matchup, even if on paper you're like, well, they're not exactly the fresh guy isn't as good as the dude, but the other guy's still tired. So you have Kerryon and you have DeAndre Swift. Literally, it's that simple. It's like, all right, if Kerryon's carrying the rock on first and second down, and then you got to deal with DeAndre Swift on third down, you're dealing with fresh legs on third down. Right, and continuously throughout the game, let's say Kerryon's carrying the rock for 14, 15 carries. We get into the third quarter, and now DeAndre Swift only had 2 or 3 carries. He's got the fresher legs. Let's let him go. So that compliment it has the potential to be very lethal. I completely agree with that.
Yeah. We got the queen of the den in the building. As y'all can see what she's saying. Make sure you guys go like the video. All right. So OMG is Lions Talk. What do you think about this? Do you think DeAndre Swift specifically will bring that change to the running game that the Lions fans been hoping for?
I think he will, but just a little slightly different reason. I think DeAndre Swift is going to bring out the beast in Kerryon Johnson.
Exactly.
I think because if y'all remember, I don't know if I was watching.
Like, that's what I've been trying to have.
J-Mo been waiting for somebody to say that.
Yeah. But did y'all see the tweet that Kerryon Johnson put out after they had drafted DeAndre Swift? I think he was like, okay, like he was confused. It was like a confused tweet, right? Like he's like didn't understand why Detroit went and got a running back so high. So I think Kerryon Johnson now is about fears the carries being taken away from him. He gonna run hard. You're gonna see the dog come out and Kerryon Johnson. And I think that's what we need, man. Because if you seen what he did at Auburn, if you watch any of the SEC and you see that, man, you're gonna be like, oh man, mixed with DeAndre Swift, oh man, sprinkle in a little Bo Scarborough, oh god, and then add Huntley, oh my man, Stafford can sit down and he ain't even got to do nothing.
Oh my god.
I watched them play each other in the same game. I mean, Kerryon, he destroyed Georgia that day. But DeAndre Swift still had a good game. And I'm just like, I never would have thought both of those guys would be on our team. So right. It could be something truly special. I truly feel that way. But we got Lou G in the building. He's back. What do you think about this? Do you think DeAndre Swift will change things for the Lions with the running game?
Well, before I answer that question, again, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I am still working. So whenever I get certain things pertaining to work, I have to handle that. That's how I'm able to be on here and pay this internet bill. But here's the thing. I think that DeAndre Swift will be as effective as his usage. So let me kind of explain it. I think TJ Hawkinson on, say, New England will be all pro. I think that if you put Kenny Galladay on the team and you use him, he can be all pro. The problem that we're starting to have here is we're not using our running backs and we're not leaning on them when they're hot. And when I go back and I look at the history, when Bo Scarborough was hot against the Dallas Cowboys, he was shut down. So for me, if he's going to elevate Kerryon, or he's going to have this impact or be able to do things that assist us in our run game, he has to himself be used. And so if the Lions use him, hell yes, he's going to have an impact. If the Lions put him on a snap count, they've been doing all the other running backs, then the usefulness of him is wasted, and therefore it doesn't matter. You have to be able to give an opportunity to the talent. And to me, I think he is a talent.
Yeah, and I think we've been talking about Darrell Bevell. Look, I don't care who made the pick. You're not telling me Darrell Bevell wasn't like, yeah, I know what I'm about to do with him. He will be used. I definitely think he will. But the Detroit Sports Room, Mr. Jim Bordeaux, what do you think about this?
I think DeAndre Swift's going to have a good time in Detroit. I really do, because I think that Darrell Bevell, wherever he has went, has brought a good running game to that team. I got a new offensive line. It all works together. TJ Hawkinson's a good blocker as well. And I think that we're trying to bring that more run, road grader type of offensive line to us. It may not develop totally this year, but we went out, got a really good running back to kind of push another really good running back, and that tandem should, if Carrion stays healthy, they should do really, really well this year. I'm buying it.
I'm definitely buying it only because I'm so confident in this running game this year because I'm like, okay, so now you have two running backs that are extremely good. How can it not turn out well? You know what I'm saying? That's a double negative, but I think it's gonna turn out great. Like no matter what.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Carrion.
Listen, I don't understand what I'm hearing right now. I can't sit down and just listen to this. I've heard every single guy on here. You guys are all Lions fans, and you guys are saying, "Oh, like this is some new thing." No. You hold up. Listen. How many times have we seen before when we drafted jobs, when we brought in Joy Bell, when we brought in Reggie Bush, when we brought in Michaela Shore? How many times have we seen it happen?
Reggie Bush was our last 100-yard rusher between him and Carrion.
Those guys,
yeah, him and Carrion had that one great year. They each had 500 receiving, 500 rushing. That was it.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I'm like, okay, I'm
Amir
from
Abdullah.
Missouri, show me. But I'm just looking at the track record of Darrell Bevel. I'm looking at the talent that they brought in, and I'm looking at the changes on the offensive line. So those three things is what I'm looking at to say, it's adding up to where we're going to have a better running game than we've had. And it's adding up to be in the future years going forward. I think it's going to get better every year.
Yeah, and I know we had Barry Sanders, but we've never had two running backs of this caliber.
Right,
like,
actually three, really, because if they both get tired and then we like, all right, Scarborough, go knock them down. Like,
right, that's how the Patriots do though. Like once you getting hit with Michelle and James, like here I can't believe they just sent James Devlin out there and he was getting yards.
Right. Exactly. And then
can I interject for a minute?
3 or 4 quality backs, like this is craziness.
Can I interject for a minute, fellas? Let me just jump in for a second, and I want to make sure that I don't overstep nobody. But listen, Bug Spray says so Wildcat. Let me just tell you something. If I see a Wildcat play this year, I'm gonna be so happy because I'm gonna tell you something right now. Think about this: if Carrion is taking a snap, and you don't know if he's handing it off to Huntley or Swift, or forget that. So let's say they put Swift at the one to take the snap, and Huntley is the guy who's supposed to come around to take the ball on that read option. Oh my God. The linemen don't really got to do much but just get in the way. Do you know how serious it would be if they decided to deploy the Wildcat in the NFC North? Oh my God. Listen, that's life.
Tell him, Luke.
Listen, I'm just saying, like, I saw that and I went, if we get that, if they run the Wildcat, I know that our defense better damn well be top 10 to top 15 because that Wildcat with our running backs that we have on staff, you got problems. Because if you think that you're going to sit there, just look how effective it was for Miami when they first used it. New England was having a flux like, what the hell is this? And Cam can contest to it.
Absolutely.
New England hated that goddamn Wildcat. They didn't know what was going on.
Pulled it out of the history books.
Right.
So I'm just telling you, if they utilizing Wildcat, our defense better meet them with that same energy. If they are not meeting them with that same energy, it's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're fresh and not tired and you're running the football, look, I've seen some of the worst defenses ever step up on teams that run the football. And they win some games sometimes. But so did I get everybody on that question?
Yeah, you got me.
All right.
Yeah, you got me.
All right. So we're gonna move on to the next question. Sports Illustrated has a list of year 2 breakout players that they think are gonna have a breakout season, and they put TJ Hawkinson on the list. So considering do you guys think that TJ Hawkinson is actually going to do what they say and be one of the year 2 breakout players from this draft class? We're going to start off with you, PD.
Well, I'm sorry to be a downer, but I'm not gonna lean one way or the other. I'm not gonna say he's gonna break out. I'm not gonna call him a bust either. I think that's a little bit more work to do than some of us might like to admit. I mean, yeah, I think he's more of work. He needs to do better at some things, like, but no, I can see him breaking out. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm downing him. Like, I do think he can. I really do think he can be that breakout player. But I'm not going to be getting drunk on Kool-Aid with this particular take and say, "Oh, he's about to be the next Rob Gronkowski" or something like that. No, I ain't. I'm not going to go that far with TJ yet. I need to see a little more from him. And I need to see
I'll go out that window and say that then he's gonna be a top 5 tight end. All right. I mean, but at the end of the day, you just gotta throw him the ball, because it was a lot of times CJ Hawkinson was open and they just didn't throw him the ball. But we gonna go to you, Luke G. Do you think that SI is correct and TJ Hawkinson will be one of the year 2 breakout players?
Absolutely. If you just listen, first of all, there seems to be this myth. When we first got Darrell Bevel, everybody was saying stuff like, you can't take no tight end at 8 because Darrell Bevel don't use tight ends. And I'm like, did you see him in Seattle when he got Jimmy Graham? He gave Jimmy Graham every opportunity to be successful. The next year, he doubled down on trying to make sure Jimmy Graham was successful. One thing I know about Darrell Bevel is something was lacking on one end. He goes into the next season with that fix. And I suspect that he's going to be given some opportunities to Mr. TJ Hawkinson, because now here's a guy, if you bring him out and he's blocking, then you let him sneak up the backfield or run up. It creates so many more mismatches. So I suspect that they are right. I think he is going to have a breakout year and start the trend of it going, because if that happens, whether y'all know it or not, that opens up the run game more. And once the run game opens up, now you got more problems, because now you got to bring people in the box. Guess what that opens up? Over the top to those big receivers like Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones. Now you got to figure out how you want to play and pick your poison. And at that point, ladies and gentlemen, that's called we rolling. Get your roll on. You remember that old song from Cash Money? Everybody get your roll. Yeah, get your roll on.
Big time.
I'm just saying.
Hook Cam, what do you think about this? Do you think SI is right? He's gonna have a breakout season?
I think so. I think that the first and foremost for TJ Hawkinson, we got to stay healthy, and that's something that we can't forget. And staying healthy, especially shortened preseason, you're hoping that he's ready to roll, hoping he's good to go into the regular season. But I think he will be. I think that he's going to have a phenomenal season as a tight end for the Detroit Lions. And that's kind of the funny thing. And it's like, obviously I'm new to the Lions community, and I'm looking at, as a neutral person, I'm looking at all of these pieces floating around. I'm looking at, Matty Stafford being who Matty Stafford is. I'm looking at their running game, their offensive line, their receivers, everything to me is really coming together for Detroit. And you have Bevel, who is a phenomenal offensive coordinator. And it honestly, even if it was like he was at Seattle and maybe he didn't use a tight end. Let's just say that, for example. Let's just, for example, he didn't use a tight end. That doesn't mean that he's not going to look at this team and go, hey, that TJ Hawkinson kid ain't bad. We got to get him the rock. So I think that he will be used. I think he's going to be a good tight end for the Lions. I think he will have a breakout second year. Absolutely.
I think that Bevel doesn't need an incentive to use Hawkinson. I know people say, well, we didn't use him last year. Look, last year was last year. End of the day, when your tight end has the greatest game in the history of the NFL in his first game, yeah, you're going to throw him the ball. So it's just last year was last year, and we just going to leave that where it is. And I think the offense will continue to get better. But Andrew, Dylan, man, I'm coming to you, man, because I know what you're going to say. But do you think that TJ Hawkinson will have a breakout season?
You know what I'm gonna say. He better have a breakout season.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Are we?
Here we go.
Now? I'm not gonna get into it. All right, he was a top 10 motherfucking tight end pick. All right? You got to be kidding me. I don't know who said. Was it PD that said I'm not gonna put expectations? Like, yeah, you better put expectations. Especially he's been working out with Tony Gonzalez. He was doing this offseason. Listen, man, if this guy's not a top 5 tight end, I'm sorry. I hate what the fans did to Obrien, all right? But after with Obrien, Lions franchise going out and getting a tight end in the top 10 when the team is doing it, it's all right. This is what he's going to be a top. Yes, he's going to break out. Yes, because he's going to be healthy. He's going to break out because he better break out.
Be at your house, bro. Like,
nah, but you know what? What's funny is I agree with Real. I do, because the thing is this: we can't keep doing this. Change the expectations. He better be a top 5 tight end. Period. And if he's not, then let the stones be cast where they may lie. But he has to show up more. The fact that he's worked out with George Kittle, I didn't know he worked out with Tony Gonzalez, but that's even more. If he did, that's even more proof positive it's going to be ugly this season. But the reality is this: at the end of the day, he has to live up to the place that he's drafted. The same way I'm going to look at Jeff Okuda with being the 3rd overall pick.
Right.
I can't have you being no head. He got to be damn near Charles Tillman. I'm serious. And if he's not Charles Tillman, Charles Woodson, one of them damn Charles, I don't want to hear it.
Right.
So just put it out there.
OMG is Lions talk. Did you go ahead? Go ahead.
Yeah. I think he has the potential to be a top 10 tight end, a top 5 tight end. It's just with all these new weapons, with Carrion, with Swift, with Galladay, with Jones, we still got Amendola, we got Marvin Hall, we got Quintez Cephas. I just think that he might get lost in the mix a little bit. I think he'll have big games. I think and we'll all be like, man, we need to use Hockenson more. But there's just so many weapons. There's just so much to do with this offense, with this team, that I just think that he might get lost in the mix from time to time.
You know, I don't disagree with you there per se. But the thing is, the Lions are going to make a statement. They're going to be like Hockenson and Kenny Galladay are the guys on this team. It's a lot of other teams with tight ends that got weapons and they still use tight ends. Kansas City, San Francisco, even Baltimore. You know, they don't got many receivers, but they got running backs. So, they got Lamar. But, so I'm just saying, even though there will be a lot of weapons, he's going to be at the top of the food chain, or he's supposed to be. And I'm going to even go out on a limb and say even Jesse James, he might be getting way more targets just because we paid him like we did, even if we don't, whether we like it or not. We're going to be like, why they keep throwing them? Like, it's going to be why ain't Marvin Jones and Danny Amendola getting target? That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, we gave him $6 million, 1 catch was 7 yards. He didn't do nothing. Right. And then it's going to be just like that. But
it's predicated on our focus to control the middle of the field. If we control the middle of the field, then I think Hockenson will have a big year because he's one of the keys to controlling the middle of the field.
Exactly. The middle of the field has to be shored up. All right, so this is one thing that I definitely wanted to talk about. And Hook Cam, you might not know that much about our O-linemen, but I wanted to talk about how many O-linemen do you think the Lions are going to keep, and then who you think are going to be the starters, the backup, and some of the bubble guys. So we're going to start off with you, right or wrong?
I think they kept 9 last year, and I think that's going to be the same. I think that the starters are going to be Taylor Decker at left tackle. The guards are really tough, but I think it'll be Jonah Jackson, Frank Ragnow at center, obviously. I don't know who's going to be that other guard spot. That's the one that I'm not really sure about. And then I think that Big V will be the right tackle. But, our offensive line has a lot of question marks at the guard position and the depth. So I can give the starters, but I have no idea who's going to be the backups this year.
Okay, Hook Cam, thank you for joining us today. You got any final words, or you want to comment on our O-lineman? I don't think you know anything about the guys that we had, but
no, I got the depth chart pulled up, so I know.
Okay.
So I know bits and pieces. Obviously, Taylor Decker is going to be that guy at left tackle. I know J-Mo is not a fan of Kenny Wiggins. I've heard that name enough to know that he's not.
None of us are fans of Kenny Wiggins.
We'll gloss over that. So the 2 rookie guards, I really do expect them to show out. Logan Stenberg, and Jonah Jackson. Stenberg played at Kentucky, and you talk about like I said, he reminded me a lot of Richie Incognito when I watched him play. He was mean, he was nasty, he was getting after it. If you can have that translate to the NFL on the interior, you're by a vet, you're by a good football player with Frank Ragnow at center. I would not be shocked to see their two rookies start at guard. I would not be shocked at all, because like, you got to think of it from a coaching perspective. You look at it and you're like, well, what did we have last year? Was last year working for us? Within the first couple of games I watched of Lions film, I noticed that their guards were, that's where their offensive line was lacking. So I felt like they went out and addressed it by picking up a dude from Ohio State. I don't know if you guys know, they know how to run the rock at Ohio State, saying that very remarkably.
Yes, they do. Amen.
And
Amen.
then they pick up Stenberg, who was a nasty dude at Kentucky. That's a recipe for success in the NFL. And then at left tackle, Vaitai, I think, is going to be the guy. They have that Dan Skipper played for New England for a little bit. He was a practice squad guy, though, but you don't sign Vaitai to that to have him not play football for you and start. So that's what I would think that their offensive line looks like. And like I said, it's all about if those rookies can come to play. And I think that, let me put it this way, they've drafted the guys that I believe can come in and play and be effective. To be honest, their two draft picks at guards reminds me of when the Pats drafted a Shaq Mason and when they drafted a Joe Tooney. And obviously we don't know if they're going to.
Shaq Mason, I liked him a lot.
Hey, some of the best college film I've ever seen. If you guys are like into O-line stuff, go watch Shaq Mason at Georgia Tech, because he is legitimately sprinting down the field, just decapitating dudes. Like, absolutely insane. I love the physicality. I love everything about it. So that's kind of what it reminded me of, where it was like, let's invest some draft picks into our guards at the right spot, obviously, which is what they did. So I wouldn't be surprised to see those two guys start, is basically what I'm getting at. But yeah, traditionally, line wise, like when we traveled and I was coaching college, I like to carry 6. When head coach was like, we can carry 6 for our plane trip because you can only carry so many guys. When you travel, your travel roster is less than obviously your game day roster in college. If I had 7. If I had 7 dudes, I was happy. If I had 6, I was a little bit worried, because you need one dude to basically band-aid anything that goes down. So 7 is that sweet spot. Now for NFL, I think that they like to carry 8 or 7 into games and then a couple on the practice squad. I'm not 100% sure, but something along those lines. But yeah, I do have to bounce, so I will give my little closing statement here. Is that cool with you guys, or you want to go to the next person?
No. Give your closing statement, man.
Yeah,
it's all love and respect.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, DSA guys, best Detroit content out there on YouTube. I'll stand by that, especially, you guys are so welcoming, good people, quality people, good humans, honest people with your live shows. And it's refreshing to see in the YouTube community that can have a lot of volatility. So I can't thank you guys enough for being so welcoming with open arms. Everybody in the chat's been awesome, which is so refreshing to see. It's just a really, really cool family you guys got here. And sometimes you just got to, sometimes you just got to keep it all in the family, ignore the noise out there, and just have a lot of fun in your live shows, with your people. So I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Love you guys.
Hey, love you more, man. Appreciate you.
See you guys.
I always say, Hook Cam, whenever you come on, I always learn something. And yes, I learned something tonight. So anytime you want to join, you know how we feel over here, man.
I appreciate that, guys. We'll be in touch, all right?
Yep. You're welcome anytime, man.
All right, fellas. We'll see you.
All right, so we're going to go to you, OMG's Lions Talk. Who do you think our O-line will be? Who do you think are going to be the backups, the starters, and some of the bubble guys?
Okay, so I'm going to start left to right. I'm going to go Taylor Decker, even though I don't want to. Taylor Decker, Joe Dahl, Frank Ragnow, Jonah Jackson, and then Big V will be our starting lineup. And I think by probably midway through the season, I think Logan Stenberg is going to take over for that left guard for Joe Dahl. But I think the guys that we keep to back them up is obviously Bo Benswagel, since we don't have no backup center really. Terrell Crosby, Logan Stenberg, and I think somehow Dan Skipper with them Patriot ties makes his way on that final roster.
Dan Skipper making the team?
Yeah.
Oh man, I hope not. But if you're telling me either it's him or Keith Williams,
that's the
I hope not.
got my mouth. The only reason why I said Skipper is because I didn't want to say, his name.
Yeah, but see, I feel like we have a lot of young guys that we ain't giving respect. But I'm gonna save mine for last. We gonna go to you, Real.
Yeah. So I mean, it's clearly gonna be Taylor Decker and then Joe Dahl on the left side. I mean, maybe that's not clear, but at least that's what I think it's gonna be. And then Frank Ragnow, of course. Right. Listen, it's gonna be either Ode Ibushi or Kenny Wiggins. Sorry to say it. And then the right is going to be on the bubble. I believe it's going to be Terrell Crosby or maybe Bo Benchwa, but I don't think so. I think it's Terrell Crosby's probably it's probably going to be his day of reckoning.
Terrell Crosby,
I don't think so.
Backup tackle. I think he's the only one who can play backup tackle.
I don't think so.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna just give my opinion. I think that Taylor Decker's the left tackle, and I agree with Hookcam. I actually think Stenberg is gonna win the job at left guard, or at least I pray. And then we got Frank Ragnow at center, and we got Jonah Jackson at right guard, and then Big V at left tackle. I think Tyrell Crosby makes the team. I think Bo Benchwa makes the team, and I think Ode Ibushi makes the team. And then you're gonna have the guy that I'm not gonna say his name. And guys like Josh Garnett and Dan Skipper on the bubble. But I just feel like I know they love that guy, but I refuse to accept it. And Ode Ibushi is better than him, if I'm being honest, in my opinion. So I just think they're going to keep those guys. And I think Bo Benchwa is way too valuable. Tyrell Crosby doesn't get talked about a lot, but he's way too valuable. We just talked about he's the only truly the backup tackle. The rest of these guys play guard, but Bo Benchwa is the only backup center. So your only backup center, your only backup tackle, of course, is going to make the roster unless you're trying to really shake things up. So we'll see what happens. But Detroit Sports Room, Mr. Jim Bordeaux, what do you think? Who are going to be our O-linemen, the backups, the starters, and the bubble guys?
All right, I got left tackle, of course, Taylor Decker. My left guard is Joe Dahl, believe it or not. And I got Logan Stenberg backing him up. Frank Ragnow at center with Bo Benchwa being the backup. Right guard, Jonah Jackson with Ibushi being his backup. And I got Vaitai with Terrell Crosby being his backup. And I got Garnett gone, and that's it. And I don't know about Dan Skipper. I don't know much about him. So I'm just going to leave that be.
Right. All right, Luke G, what do you think? Who do you think our O-linemen are going to be? The backups, the bubble guys? Okay, PD, you can go ahead, man.
Oh, my bad. I was muted. My bad. I'm ready.
I was muted. Like, what happened?
Yeah, I didn't know what happened. I was muted. My bad, people. All right, I'm going to make it quick. Left tackle, Taylor Decker. Left guard, I know everybody is putting names out there thinking it's going to be Steinberg or whatever his name is, or Joe Dow. Unfortunately, I happen to think that left guard is going to be Kenny Wiggins. I think they like him. I think they like him. At center, Frank Ragnow. Right guard, Jonah Jackson. Right tackle, Big V. Backing up the center, I think it's going to be Bo. Playing for the guard in the tackle position. I think they keep Dan Skipper. And then I think Terrell Crosby is a bubble guy. I think Josh Garnett is a bubble guy. And I think Ibushi makes this team too because he can play both guard, center, and tackle. I think they roll with those 8 people right there.
Ibushi playing center?
Ibushi is a very athletic offensive lineman. And when you look at Darrell Bevel's offense, he likes for people who can be athletic enough to pull. If he goes out and he keeps a guy like Russell Bodine, Bodine can play center, Bodine can play guard. But after you go past that, he can't play tackle. And if you got to look at who's going to be the backup tackles for this team, they're not keeping Terrell Crosby. I think his time is run. I agree with Real on that.
I don't know. But PD, what do you think about that? Who do you think are going to be our starting O-linemen and the backups?
All right. So for the starters, I got Taylor Decker, Logan Stenberg, Frank Ragnow, Jonah Jackson, and Halapuli Vaitai. And then for the reserves,
I so hate PD. Why PD the only one to say everything? Everybody said Big V. Here he come being all politically correct. How to politicize. Oh, can't nobody say that.
Everybody, this takes a little
I
bit
would
of
say how fully right time, man. Like, let's go.
All right.
Jesus.
So for the reserves, on the bubble, I mean, honestly, my reserves and the people on the bubble are going to intertwine a little bit. For the bubble, I got Wiggins, Crosby, Skipper. I didn't even know Matt Nelson was on the team, but he's on the team, so I got him on the bubble. Yeah, Ben Schwa, Garnett, and then some player Beninock and Ibushi on the bubble. So who do I think get the reserves? I'm going to go Joe Dahl, and because he has the if we're speaking just strictly dead money, Joe Dahl has the most dead money if you cut him, so I would probably say we keep Dahl. Then Crosby, unfortunately, I have to go with Crosby because he also has the most dead money if you cut him. In all honesty, Crosby was getting into Taylor Decker. Honestly, he was even worse than Taylor Decker at times when it came to the holding penalties last year. But yeah, that's my offensive line breakdown, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that it's valuable that we talk about the O-line and who the starters are going to be because I don't care how good the defense is. If that O-line's not working, this team isn't going to work because we're not going to be able to run the football and our quarterback's not going to be able to protect it, and we put him in jeopardy. Y'all know how that goes. So OMG is Lions talk. Did you go already?
Yeah, I already went. But one quick question. I gotta go back. Luke G, who in the hell did you say was gonna start at left guard?
He said Kenny Wiggins.
Kenny Wiggins.
Oh my God.
Crazy, dog.
I thought I heard something like wrong, like maybe a firecracker.
No, listen. I listen. I've been paying attention to these offensive linemen, right? So now you got to ask yourself the question: with this COVID-19 thing going on, who can you put in there? Who can you put in there who already knows what is happening? It's Kenny Wiggins.
Exactly.
You cannot put the rookie.
Joe Dahl does too.
Joe Dahl knows.
Yeah, but here's
Joe
the
Dahl
thing.
and Wiggins.
Right, but here's the thing. They both have a skill set, which is why they rotated them out. One of them is good in run, the other one is good in pass. That's why they played that game. They want them to do different things. And so if I'm going to go into a year where I'm not having a real offseason, I'm not having a real camp, I'm not getting rid of people who already know my system.
Right.
The only reason Crosby is going to get released, in my opinion, is because when they tried him out, he was meh. He was okay. He was,
and Wiggins was good.
No, I'm not saying he was
Better
good.
than the rest of the guys.
I'm not saying he was good, but he had more consistent playing time than Crosby.
Right.
So
Okay.
I think that
tackle because Crosby and Skipper are the only real backup tackles we got.
I think Skipper and Ibushi are going to be your swing people. I think they're going to roll with those two. Skipper, every time I think about it, Skipper has been on this team a few times. We cut him and we bring him back. It never fails. It never fails. And I think they're going to try to minimize damage by having as few changes up front than they would. If this was a regular offseason, I'd be with everybody. He out of here. But this is an unusual offseason. They already for some strange reason, chopped off the first and last preseason game. So this right here is telling you that, listen, teams are not going to be mortgaging too much on their team to make all these changes. The teams who did mortgage that, they were already given a bill of rights to say, hey, you're good. Don't worry about it. You got a good bill of health. You're straight. Even if it don't work out, I'm not firing you. Mike Zimmer would be on the hot seat if it wasn't for COVID-19.
Right.
But he won't be this year.
But where do you have Ben Schwa in there, or do you have him making the team?
Ben Schwa would be the backup center because he could also play center and guard. So because Ben Schwa can play center and guard, he gets a spot. Ibushi and Skipper can play tackle and guard. They get a spot.
Okay.
Wiggins knows the system. I think he survived because of that trash reason, but I think that's what's going to happen.
I mean, look, I understand your sentiments, but Ibushi know the system, and so do Joe Dahl. Why does the worst out of the three get the starting job? So,
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If I could be mistaken, but I could have swore that Wiggins had took more snaps than them. He had more time. Was it Joe Dahl? He had more time than them.
Like started. I could go look how many games he started. Like not Joe Dahl played. He was the starter.
Listen, I can't remember. Again, I can't remember. That's why I say I could be mistaken.
They rotated Joe Dahl and Kenny Wiggins. I think they're going to do that this year until Logan Stenberg is up to speed.
And that's what I think. I think they want to ease Stenberg because Stenberg, I watched him in pass rush, and I was like, okay, we're gonna play.
He's too stiff.
Joe Dahl started in 13 games. So, like, he was the starter for the most part. I mean, they did rotate, but he was the starter for the most part. We got 39 people in the chat. If you haven't liked the video, make sure you guys like the video. We got one more question, and then we're going to get to you guys' questions. You can drop some of those in the chat. I will get to every single one. Let us know. But I wanted to talk about this because I think it's fun for all of us Lions fans and the people in the chat. I definitely need to know who these guys are for you, but I want to know who are you guys' top 5 Lions of all time? Who do you think the top 5 Lions of all time are?
Dang.
So we gonna start off with you, right or wrong?
So obviously Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson are on that list. For me, I have to put Matthew Stafford on there. He's the only quarterback I've ever seen quarterback my team. You know, he's, in my opinion, the best quarterback we've ever had. And so I got to put him up there. You know, we've had a lot of good secondary players. We've had guys like Dick LeBeau, who has the franchise record in interceptions. We've had, you know, guys like Night Train Lane, who
I would say Len Barney or whatever his name was.
Len Barney was there too. I mean, we've had a lot of good secondary players. Sue was fun to watch. I mean, there's so many good players, but I'd say Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford, Night Train Lane, and probably Dick LeBeau or my 5.
See, I should put y'all feet to the fire and make y'all put it in order. But I'm not going to do that to y'all, man. But I should, but I'm not. But we're going to go to you, Detroit Sports Room. Who are your top 5 Lions of all time?
Wow, big question. I do have Barry Sanders. I have Alex Karras. I have big defensive tackle. I loved how he played. It's been a long time. Watched old film on the guy. Night Train Lane is one of mine. So Calvin Johnson and then Matthew Stafford over Bobby Lane.
Okay, so you Matthew Stafford, Night Train Lane. You said Alex who?
Alex Karras.
And you said he was a D lineman?
Defensive tackle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who he is, but I'm just trying to figure out who he was. All right, cool. And who else? Who was the other 2?
It was Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Alex Karras. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Real. So who are your top 5 Lions of all time?
So is this like top 5 favorites or like top 5 like
whatever, man?
Yeah, whatever.
I would say
okay.
5 best lines is what I would say it is, but
top 5. Okay. Top 5
okay.
Yeah. Who are the best players to ever play for this franchise?
Yeah. So to me, it's Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson for sure. I 100% Matthew Stafford. I would definitely put Billy Sims in there as well, and Jason Hanson.
Okay.
I see you with the kicker.
Yeah, I mean, I
like
let
that.
It go. I let the last 2 go. I just let the last 2 go. I'm like, all right.
All right.
Hey, that's his opinion, man. He's entitled to it. OG is Lions Talk. Who are your top 5 Lions of all time?
Gotta go with Bobby Lane, Herman Moore, Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, and this is just my favorite, man, Robert Porcher.
Okay.
All
right. Who are your top 5 Lions of all time?
You about to me?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to Luke?
I said Luke G.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you. Broke up, so that's why I asked. Okay, my bad. My top 5, and I'll put mine in order because I don't really care. Don't at me. Barry Sanders, and Ndamukong Suh, Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford, and Benny Blaze. I can even make the argument to take Benny Blaze out and put Crockett in there, but I just thought Blaze did something. Yeah, Ray Crockett was a different beast, but I can almost Benny Blaze to me. I remember him just giving some devastating hits, and it was not pretty.
Right. Right.
Definitely. All right, PD, this is your question. Who are your top 5 Lions of all time? Who do you think are the best Lions players of all time?
All right, so I might have a little bit of an unconventional list, honestly, but that's okay. Night Train Lane, he didn't play long enough for the Lions, in my opinion, because he spent most of his career with the Cardinals, I'm pretty sure. So that's why he will not be making my top 5. But number 1, I got Barry Sanders. Number 2, I got Bobby Lane. And then this is where it gets real tricky. I'll go 3, Matthew Stafford. Number 4, Jack Christensen. And then number 5, Joe Schmidt.
Oh, okay. I like the Joe
Schmidt. Listen, he went 100% different than I was expecting.
I expected him to because
Right.
I feel like people in the chat. I need you guys to subscribe to PD and watch his videos. He literally breaks down all of the Lions' great players. If you want to know all of
and hockey, don't forget the hockey and baseball.
And hockey and baseball. I know about all the legendary players because my man's PD Sports be uploading it. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. But obviously, in order, Barry Sanders probably will be the greatest Lion forever. So yeah, he's number 1 to me. Number 2,
Really quick. Did you say was number 1 for you?
Barry Sanders.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something else. My bad. I thought my bad. You gotta excuse me. This is what happens when you read emails and you listening. My bad.
I'm like, why did you stop? I'm like,
so I swear I thought I heard you say something else, and I'm like, what did he just say? My bad. Go ahead.
All right. But yeah, number 1 is Barry Sanders. For me, number 2 is Calvin Johnson. Like I said, I was always watching football when I was younger, but Calvin Johnson is the reason I love football. So, and then number 3, I would go with Matthew Stafford. Number 4, I'm gonna go with Bobby Lane, and number 5, I'm gonna go with Ndamukong Suh.
Wow.
I
was going to say something real quick. There's
go ahead.
Chris Spielman's on that list too, somewhere.
Yeah, he has to be him. And Corey Slexter.
He's a phenomenal player.
We've had a lot of players in our history, so
Yeah, that's why I want everybody to go to PD's channel. I'm not just saying this because I don't think Lions fans realize we've had some of the greatest players ever on our team, and not just the last 30 years with Barry Sanders, Calvin, and Stafford. Back in the day, we had some of the greatest players to ever play, man. So you got to learn your research of the Lions history because it's really hard to have a top 5 list. Like we could do a top 15 list and to really break it down like that. But this is the time where we're going to take questions. So all you guys, make sure you guys drop your questions. If you haven't liked the video, make sure you like the video. And before that, I'm going to read some of the fans in the chat. Please, we got.
I want to put a small request in there. I need PD and Ryder to do a video. The amount of detail that they go through is not human. This is not. I'm telling you, it's not on this planet. It cannot be. I need a video from PD and Ryder. They always say something that I'm like, where did you find it at? Why were you thinking about it? Like, tell me what is going on in the mind of a genius. Them two are phenomenal. Y'all got to find a way to figure this out. I'm gonna push it until it happens because I think they can come up with something phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be great, man. Now, stay tuned for that. I'm sure y'all gonna get something together. Vastar went. He has Barry Sanders, Stafford, Calvin, Matt Prater, and I don't think he has. He couldn't think of a 5th person because he started thinking of all the pain and hardship it is to be a Lions fan, maybe. But Motown Football with the best comment of the day. Make sure you guys read that one.
For an April Fool's joke one day, probably.
Right. Make sure you guys drop your questions in the chat. We got Troy Thibodeau with Lomas Brown, Stafford, Lynn Barney, Benny Blaze, Barry Sanders. That's a very, very
like that one.
List.
Yeah.
That's a very solid list. Like it really is. But before we get some questions, I guess we'll talk about it's an unusual stat, but 50% of the Lions wins with Matthew Stafford as a quarterback have been 4th quarter comebacks. And my question to everybody in the chat is, what does that say about Stafford? But what does that say about the Lions that over a 10-year span, a QB has to have 50% fourth quarter comeback wins? So
Means we're behind most of the time.
We're gonna start with you, OMG.
Yeah, that just comes from game planning. I think we don't make adjustments until after halftime. Like a lot of teams will make adjustments the next drive. They'll come back and look at it and say, okay, we'll do this different, and they'll make an adjustment, and maybe later on that quarter, maybe second quarter, you'll see the adjustment. The Lions just don't seem to make adjustments quick, and they never have. It's just, and I don't think the comeback happens until you get to that fourth quarter, and it's do or die, and they're like, we got to go. We gunning. We got to go. And then magically, somehow, our defense just starts playing. Like, I don't know what they were doing the first three quarters, but for some odd reason, they can stop people all of a sudden. And then Stafford, just does his thing. So, yeah, I just think it goes to the game planning, man, and coaching, because you just can't tell me that they do that. They fall behind the first three quarters of the game and then just make these magical fourth quarter comebacks.
Okay, you never want to be playing from behind. I definitely think it shows something. But PD, what do you think about this?
All right, so timeout. I actually think the stat is 50% of stats come on game-winning drives, not fourth quarter comebacks. Like, I could be wrong, but I think that's actually it. Okay, well,
I can go do a little research while you answer the question. Don't worry.
No, but what does it say about the Lions? It says we don't have much going for us outside of the quarterback is what I'm at. Like, and in all honesty, like with the fourth quarter comebacks of the quarterbacks that are in the top 15 of fourth quarter comebacks, Stafford entered the fourth quarter trailing the third lowest percentage of the quarterbacks in the top 15 all time in fourth quarter comebacks. So
yeah, so it was game-winning drives.
So it was game-winning drives.
But that's literally the same thing.
No, it's not the same thing. Like, you can be.
It's just like it's literally the same thing. Maybe he nailed, but like if you're coming back in the fourth, if you're having a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter, you were down in the fourth quarter, and this probably was a fourth quarter comeback. Sometimes you guys are tied, and it's a game-winning drive, but other than that, like it's almost the same.
No, for basically it just shows we haven't had much going for us outside of Matthew Stafford. Hopefully we can start to change that. But, I know not everyone feels the same way about Stafford, but I had Stafford as my number 3 Lion of all time. So, and this is part of the reason why.
Right. Right or wrong, what do you think about this? And make sure you guys put your questions in the chat because we will wrap up soon. So if you guys have any questions for us, make sure you drop them in the chat. Go ahead, Ryder.
I mean, the Detroit Lions organization needs to look at this stat and just be ashamed of themselves. How can you be an NFL franchise and have to need your quarterback to have a game-winning drive for you 50% of the time? You can't be a winning football team like that. If you're the owner, if you're the GM, if you're the head coach, you got to look at that and change something because you're not going to win a Super Bowl like that. You're not going to win anything if your quarterback has to make a game-winning drive 50% of the time.
No, I definitely agree with you on there. Like, I don't think it's good at all. But all right, Luke G, what do you think about this?
You would think with them being analytical guys that they would see these numbers and be like, hey, we got to change. But apparently analytics don't only apply when you need it to make an excuse for failure. Let's get to the point here. What does this say about Matthew Stafford? Well, we already know, okay? The team has not been there. It has not been around them. And if you give them a team around them, it's going to work. I hate when people always want to talk about Matthew Stafford, but then they turn around and say, again, Aaron Rodgers don't have this, Aaron Rodgers don't have that. But then as soon as he do something with this amazing receiving core, like he didn't have all these great receivers and people around him, that when he's a bad man, people stop it, okay? We got to start supporting our players on every level and making sure that they succeed. We supported Ndamukong Suh. We supported a lot of other people. But I think too often, too many times, we forget too quickly that Stafford has been the biggest bright spot for this team. So it just basically confirms what we always knew.
I agree with you there. He has been the biggest bright spot for this team. And, I always tell fans, I literally have said this multiple times. It's documented on my videos on my channel. Without Stafford, we 4-12 every year. I've literally said this. And then we finally lose the guy and we go 3-12. And this is the reality of the situation. Like, Stafford got us all of our wins. We couldn't get any more on our own. So my thing is when it comes to this stat is just, I'm tired of Stafford carrying the team, and we've said it before that he carries a team. But to me, this is just ridiculousness. This shows that your defense is probably not helping you out. The coaching isn't helping you out. It just shows that one guy's been carrying the team, and Stafford isn't the only guy on an NFL franchise right now that's carrying a football team. But he is one of the guys that's doing it. And when people, deny this because of results, I mean, if half of your wins got to come on game-winning drives, how are you supposed to win anything? And I don't think people realize that if Stafford wasn't as good of a quarterback, this stat would probably be 20%, or it wouldn't be, or we would be even worse. So I just think it's something to think about. But all right, we're gonna go to the questions in the chat, and he says that Vast Arvin says our team in general is great at making comebacks because they don't take the whole team acting / performing to be almost perfect. I don't want to be a team that's having a lot of fourth quarter comebacks though. Because, it's nice to watch, but I just want to be in the lead. I don't want an Arizona game happening because that's what happens. You let the team, you stick around, and then that's exactly what happens. But, all right, man, we going to do final thoughts now. We're going to start with you, right or wrong.
This was a fun show. Obviously, we didn't get to fan questions, unfortunately, but I think the topics were really good. I had a fun time tonight, and it's always fun with the DSA. Now we can have more than 6 people on, which is awesome. So, yeah.
Right, man. Luke is right, man. Like you smooth, you Jim and PD just smooth operator out here, man. Like,
listen, it's like when Ryder talk. It's like he on the phone with a girl. Like he be whispering, like, "Yeah, everything is so good. You looking really nice today. I appreciate what you're doing right now." Is that perfume? Like it's so smooth. It's so smooth. Crazy. Like it's. I love it though. It's crazy though.
All right, we got the Detroit Sports Room. Final thoughts, man.
Yeah, I thought this was a great show. We're just experimenting with more people in our chat. They allow us to have 10 now, so you'll see more people from now on. And I thought it went really good. I really appreciate everybody's patience on the panel and us not talking over each other and doing things like that. We have a really good group here at the DSA, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I also appreciate each and every one of you in the chat. JMO's on a thing to go to 1,000 subscribers. He's getting really close. If you could subscribe to his channel, please do so. And thank y'all for having me on tonight.
No doubt. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
For sure. We got OMG is Lions Talk, a resident subscriber and a Detroit Lions YouTuber. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. Final thoughts, man?
Yeah, just first of all, I'd like to thank y'all for having me. It was a great discussion. I like that everybody laid their honest opinion on the table and everybody was respectful, argumentatively. You know what I'm saying? But it was all respectful, and I love that type of debate. That's what me and my family always do. So I thank y'all, man, and just keep doing this Lions thing, man, and subscribe to OMG's Lions Talk on YouTube.
No doubt. We're always glad to have subscribers on. Vash says, I need to join the panel sometime. Yes, you do, Vash. Just hit me up on Twitter at 313J.
Hit any one of us up.
I would love to have you on to talk some football with us, Vash. Definitely, man, for sure. You got to do that.
Kyle Webb gonna be on soon. I know he hit me up on Twitter and he wants to come on. Kyle Webb will be on, and we got some. Yeah, so we got some people coming in here. So we gonna get it done, people. Just hit us up and we gonna get you on.
Right. All right. PD Sports. Final thoughts.
My final thoughts are: thank you everyone for coming into the chat. Really appreciate it. And my final thoughts for you guys are: I love working with every single one of you. I love how supportive you have been of me. I remember when you took me in. I still remember that. I can't believe you actually took me under y'all's wing. But I love Luke G. I love Real. I love Jim, Ryder, and you, JMO. But we got a hockey show coming on July 11th. It'll be on PD.
Ooh.
We got that coming. Make sure you tune in for that. And yeah, thank you all for coming out, and I love every one of you guys.
Hey, much love back, man. Much love back. Love you more.
And I just
same to you, PD.
You want to hear some people talk about how the NHL screwed us over once again by not. We have the worst record, and we somehow was with the fourth pick. You definitely want to stop by for PD Sports Channel to watch that show. It's gonna be fun, man. We love talking all Detroit sports for you guys. And I just want to say, this is what we do. We grow and build. Thank you for the hook cam for being on. And we just trying to talk Lions. We just trying to stay positive and provide the stuff for the fans, whether we, being real about the team, being honest. And you might not like everything that we say. You might not like everything that we do, but we do it for the Lions. We do it to get rid of this bad media out here, because the media out here being reckless. We got a whole lot more special guests coming on for you guys, and I'm so excited. We got a lot more planned for the DSA. Make sure you guys like the video on your way out. And Luke G, man, final thoughts. Take it away, man.
Hey,
before you take it away, let me just say my final thoughts, because I like when Luke G closes up. It's okay. You skipped over me, JMO. It's all good. It's your first time hosting, so I'm not gonna kill you. You go in order, bro, so you don't miss out on everybody. But it's all good.
Oh my goodness!
I appreciate everybody. PD, we love you too, man. I love everybody in the DSA. This whole entire group is amazing. And, just like JMO said, we're just getting started. So listen, subscribe to all of us. Listen, the Roundtable is going to be on all of our channels. It's going to go around. It's going to be amazing. We share the wealth around here. So listen, subscribe to everybody. And if you're a real Detroit Lions fan, go to my channel and subscribe to me and Andrew, because we rock it over there too.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right, good people.
No, man, I just want to say to everybody that's listening, is going to listen back, we got a lot of big things planned, a lot of future guests. Stay tuned and rock with us, and we'll keep giving the content for y'all, because this is about the community of this Detroit Lions fan base as a whole, because at the end of the day, we just want to win football games. Ain't that right? Go ahead, Luigi.
Listen, today is one of the days where I have so much fun, man. And I wanted to let y'all know that y'all very much appreciate it. This people too often think that this is a bunch of friends who came together and did this. This is a group of people who were all strangers who became family. And we put this show together every week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m., and we make this thing happen. We got basketball shows on Saturday. We finna have hockey shows coming up. We got writers for the website. You better make sure you don't miss the website, because there's stuff going on there. And we got a lot of great things coming up ahead. Let me just give you where today's quote comes from. As I was sitting up here, my original quote was going to be about the glass being half empty and half full, right? But then I realized something. There's a bigger theme that was played out today. That was one of family. And so my quote changed into the Fast and the Furious. That's right. It goes to Dominic, who says, I don't have friends, I have family. People forget this world and all this crazy stuff that's going on. Understand that. You don't need a drop, not 1 ounce, not a centimeter of blood to run through your veins to be family. You simply just need to love and respect each other. Do not waste your time on anything that is not willing to give you that same love back, the same energy you put into them. If it cannot give you the same amount of deposits that you deposit into them, then at the end of the day, you're going to end up an empty bank account, overdrawn, out of breath, and exhausted. This is a cautionary tale today, people. Have fun in knowing that those closest to you are usually the ones who know you the best, and they are your family. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you subscribe to all the members of the DSA. And as always, don't be no chump. Please do your research.
All right, guys, it's your boy 313 JMO. This is DSA Roundtable. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to join the community on Twitter. We out.